is WGRG 100.5 FM, where we meet the absolute minimum FCC broadcasting standards. It's time to hang on and brace yourself for a community radio program that's frankly indescribable. Let's talk Geneseo. Two guys with nothing better to do on a Friday morning but to talk about our community. Geneseo City Administrator Brandon Meglin and City Alderman Keith Kennett. And yeah, nobody, and I mean nobody, puts the blah in blah 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 like these guys do.
And good morning. You're listening to WGRG 100.5 FM in Geneseo. It's Let's Talk Geneseo for this Friday morning, May, I think that says May 29th is the, Brandon, I will take it to you. I'll try and find my phone, which is in my pocket, but the date is what, the 29th today, I think?
I'm sorry, we got wrapped up in side conversation here.
And that's
I didn't
just
even know
fine.
we were on.
And not that. It's the 29th, the 30th. We don't know.
Oh,
what
well,
it
today
is
is the 30th.
30th, thank you.
It is Friday the 30th. It's a bright, sunny day in beautiful Geneseo, Illinois.
Perfect. But this is also, I believe, our final program of the year. We have some special guests also with us, as we frequently do. But we'll probably just turn it right over to you on that, and then maybe we have a little time. Do we want to talk at the end of the program and any city stuff, or just
hit a few things coming up this weekend? We should probably talk about too. But
all right.
Before we turn it over to our guests as well, we should mention that this past Monday was Memorial Day here in Geneseo.
Yes.
We'll put Geneseo's Memorial Day celebrations up against any city in the country, with the Isle of Flags now approaching, probably in the next year or two, 1,000 flags that all represent and have the names of veterans that were from the Geneseo area. And they put on such a beautiful display in the city park. And then the VFW Auxiliary putting on the big ceremony up there on Monday was a really beautiful event.
Yeah, very moving and very respectful to what we remember on Memorial Day. But yeah, just another one of those things that makes this pretty special town that we love. So we're very thankful for everyone that puts out the efforts into that. And yeah, probably and sad thing is that's another veteran that has passed away when the new flag is added, but it's a very cool and respectful way to remember them. And yeah, in a couple of years we're probably going to crack the 1,000 mark, and it started with 40, I think around 40 flags about 40 years or so ago, if my memory is not mistaken.
Yeah,
So.
It started as a nice way to take, those are coffin flags that are given to the families, and a way to display them and not just put them on a shelf. And neat thing that we do here in Geneseo.
Yeah.
So we'll jump right into it. We have two guests with us this morning. This is, I guess we call it the conclusion of Season 2 of Let's Talk Geneseo, since we follow the school schedule generally. We'll be back in August to fire things back up after today's show. But Mark Gravichetsky, Quad City Investment Group, is here with us. Oh, we got the intro.
Dave, this is my official intro.
There you go.
I always forget to break because we're going to cue up music when Mark's here.
Mark is in the house.
But Mark,
you can keep that running a little bit longer. That, like I always say, a little 2112 overture by Rush, a little Neil Peart on the drums. No better way to start your morning.
Let's take 15 minutes just to enjoy this.
Mark, it's only a half-hour show, and we have another very important guest with us.
I
here.
know.
We can't play your song for 3 minutes this morning. But, Mark, of course, is a regular guest, and I'll call him a producer of Let's Talk Geneseo, because he really brings in a lot of great guests and connections from the Quad Cities area, things that are going on around the QCs that are important to Geneseo folks as well. So, welcome to the conclusion of Season 2, Mark.
Good to be here again. Brandon, Keith, back in the saddle again in the studio. A little bit of a caveat. I'm going to kind of cut my segment a little bit shorter. We got a fantastic guest in the house, in the studio today. Dave Heller, owner of the Quad City River Bandits, is joining us this morning. And I know myself, Keith, Brandon, we've got some Q&A and some topics we'd like to discuss with Dave that we have the pleasure of having in the studio. So got to cut it a little bit short, but we can talk about a few things.
Yeah, so I think the big thing that's probably on people's mind for you, Mark, is we saw a sharp sell-off of stocks recently, but over the past month or so, we've seen a big recovery, and we're almost at, or maybe we have hit a new time high, not quite yet, right?
Not quite.
What, I guess, since we're not coming back till August, what do we see going on, at least until we get to the fall, I guess, until people hear from you again through our system?
Good question, and I get that a lot. What the heck is going on with the U.S. stock market the last couple of months? Maybe not phrased as politely, but there is kind of this big inquisition of what's going on. Look, remember back in late February through early April, we did get this sizable pullback in the U.S. stock market. The S&P 500 fell 19%. The NASDAQ lost even more, close to 24%, all kind of caused by this uptick in concern and anxiety as these trade wars and tariffs started to escalate. Look, in my opinion, I think Wall Street was assuming a worst-case scenario for the U.S. economy with respect to these disputes and trade wars going on. I think, they thought that consumer spending, business spending, the labor market, corporate earnings would all suddenly and drastically be impacted by these tariffs and trade disputes. But then in early April, we started to get some data that says, okay, consumer spending, business spending, hanging in there relatively strong. We get a better than expected April employment report. Corporate earnings have remained, quite strong through the first quarter. But look, Wall Street is not saying that, these trade disputes and tariffs don't have some type of negative impact on the U.S. economy. Obviously, they do. But I think this recovery, this rebound we've seen, excuse me, this rebound, this recovery we've seen in the U.S. stock market does at least indicate that Wall Street thinks that the U.S. economy is holding up better than they initially thought it would. Going forward, obviously I don't have a crystal ball and my Ouija board is still in the shop. But I do think that the U.S. stock market will remain a little bit choppy. I think Wall Street is going to be very hesitant to put its foot on the gas pedal to the U.S. stock market until it gets greater confirmation that, these trade disputes are at least starting to wind down a little bit more. But also, I think Wall Street is looking for greater clarity on the impact that these tariffs and these trade disputes, what potential impact that might have on the economy in the second, third, fourth quarter of the year.
Well, as always, Mark, appreciate your insights on this. And
yeah. But now we get to our featured guest.
Thanks for sharing that, but let's get to Dave now.
Hey, I'd be doing the same thing.
We need to talk about fun stuff now, Mark.
We have a whole summer.
Not that the economy's not fun.
But we have a whole summer, too.
It's summer.
When we come back in the fall, I'm going to say that it's going to be a positive economic message that we have. We can do a little prediction. Positive or negative? I'm going positive.
Good for you. I like that sense of optimism.
There you go.
He's a glass half full kind of guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, we'll go ahead and turn it to Dave Heller, owner of the Quad City River Bandits. Dave, appreciate you being with us here this morning.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah. So, as with most of our guests, we like to start with kind of diving in about what brought you to the Quad Cities area, to the Quad City River Bandits, and just a little bit of the history behind you getting involved with the team.
So my wife hates it when I tell the story, but she's not here, and we're among friends, right? She's from Michigan originally. I'm from Ohio, and we wanted to have a team in the Midwest. And so we looked at 4 or 5 different teams, and it took me 3.5 years to marry my wife. It took me about 3.5 minutes to marry Modern Woodman Park. I just saw the ballpark and I fell in love.
Yeah. I can remember going back to the John O'Donnell Stadium back in the 90s, and I think it's always been a beautiful stadium. and place to go to since you guys have taken over. I've been to a couple games in the past 8 or 9 years or so. And
Okay, we might want to ramp that up a little bit.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Brandon.
one time I got to enjoy one of the boxes there, and that was great. But you see a lot of changes, and you guys have done a lot of marketing and promotions in the Quad Cities area.
Right.
So I guess, can you talk about some of those changes that you've made to the park and what spurred the drive behind doing all that?
Oh, sure. So I always had this idea, that's never been done before, of what would happen if you tried to marry a small amusement park and a baseball park. And that's what led to buy the Ferris wheel, right? I went to TBK, then it was Triumph Bank, and took out $1 million loan and bought a Ferris wheel. Like, I didn't know you could do that.
Why not?
Why not? Right?
Exactly.
I wanted something big and grand and that screams fun, because that's what a ballpark should be. It should be fun. And so we put in the Ferris wheel, and then a few years later, we added the only double-decker carousel anywhere between Chicago and Kansas City, right? The only one in the state of Iowa, the only one anywhere in this region. And then supplemented that with a couple of thrill rides and the spinning kids coaster. You know, it's only 20 feet tall, but the cars spin around as they whip around the track. And parents, I've seen it over and over again, parents will ride with their kids because they think, oh, it's only 20 feet tall. It can't be that. How bad can it be? And the parents get off the ride and we're like, that was a lot more than I bargained for. That's great.
Kids are laughing and the parents are happy it's over.
That's right. It's a deceptively thrilling ride.
But kind of back at earlier on in this morning, you and I were kind of chatting with Brooke, the vice president of the school here, and you made a fascinating comment for me. It says, to paraphrase you a little bit, you said, we're not in the entertainment business, we're not in the sports business, we're in the memory making business.
Yes.
Elaborate a little bit more, because I just thought that was a fascinating comment.
Yeah, I mean, look, what we do at Modern Woodman Park is we try to create memories for the kids who come there. That's our big thing, right? If we can create a memory for somebody, that's really special. Then I really feel like at the end of the day I've done something with my life. And so that's what we set out to do every night. And whether it's somebody going out there in a sumo wrestling suit, or somebody going out in the money machine that Modern Woodman sponsors, or any of the other games that we play, or the rides that we have, or just the chance to watch a great game. I remember, I fell in love with baseball because when I was a kid, my father took me on a trip to New York City, and we went to Shea Stadium, and I saw Tom Seaver pitch for the Mets, and he took a no-hitter into the 9th inning, and I was hooked. And I remember that was, 45 years ago.
Yeah.
And I still remember it so vividly. And so when we could create those memories, that's really special.
You guys have won a number of awards over the years for, your promotions. Obviously, have the Ferris wheel, a lot of amusement rides, but you also have these creative single game promotions. I think one of the bigger ones was that mega candy drop, where they dropped literally a ton of candy on top of children's heads from a helicopter.
Yes.
But I guess my question to you is, what really kind of inspires that creativity? Because, you're sitting around, at your desk or around a coffee table, you're brainstorming, okay, dropping a ton of candy on kids' heads from a helicopter in the great mega candy drop doesn't initially, come to the tip of your tongue. What's the source, do you think, for all that creativity that creates these events?
That I'm a child. that I'm just a child.
If I was 12, I would want this to happen.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Well, even if I'm, 55, that's what I want to happen, right? That, and I also want to make sure that we keep every dentist in the Quad Cities busy. Right? I want to make sure that all the dentists are fully employed. No, I just think of what would be fun to me.
Yeah.
Like, that's really it. And it's not a lot of brainstorming that goes on. It's really like these are just crazy ideas that come into my head, and sometimes my staff will shoot them down, and other times they'll go with it. We did a promotion called Tattoo Night, where we gave a free permanent tattoo of our logo
to children,
to any adult who wanted it. And we told them, if you get this tattoo, all you need to do is show it at the ticket window, and you can get in free for as long as I own the team.
Wow.
And so people, will come in with tattoos that are 10, 12 years old, and they'll be like, I got this tattoo, a decade ago. And we're like, come on in, have a great time.
Is there any idea that, you didn't pull the trigger on, but then, maybe a couple months, couple years later, it's like, man, that was a good idea. Or maybe you already went ahead and did that.
No, it's more like there are ideas that we have that Major League Baseball doesn't really want us to do. Major League Baseball now controls minor league baseball. And so the promotions are a little harder to get
That's
away
interesting.
with. Yeah. Like for example, I wanted to send people up in a hot air balloon from the middle of the field, and then have them throw the first pitch from 500 feet up in the air. And Major League Baseball's like, yeah, we're not doing that.
So Tattoo Night would probably be frowned upon by Major League Baseball these days. Or maybe?
I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. They're tough. They're tough. But I told my general manager before I hired her, I said, let's just understand our relationship here. My job is to shoot off rockets, and your job is to catch them.
One of my questions coming in that I was going to ask you was, you have a really creative team, and you're just a really good sport to go into all these ads and commercials and do all these things, but I don't think I need to ask that question. I think you've answered that. You really enjoy jumping into these crazy promotions and advertisements.
Well, and I write them.
Yeah.
Right? I'm the guy who comes up with them. We don't have an ad firm or something. It's just me. And I just think, well, okay, what would make me laugh? And what do I think people would find funny? And so we try to do that. And if I can get my kids to do it with me, even better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Tell us about some of the what kind of challenges.
So I'll tell you one more we had that was really fun.
Skip the challenges.
This is interesting, really.
So we did, a number of years ago, we did the first human home run at Modern Woodman Park, where we put a guy in a cannon and shot him over the left field wall. Right.
Now that's a promotion.
That's the first human home run. I thought that was kind of fun too.
It reminds me a lot of the stories. I grew up in Geneseo, my little background here, but then I was 25 years in Chicago, and Cubs and Sox, and obviously the White Sox, Bill Veeck.
Yes.
And all those crazy promotions he'd have. Well, he came up with the shooting scoreboard. I believe that was his idea, and then exploding scoreboard, and then they'd have some nights it'd be like the Tanya Harding mini bat night, and when Arthur Anderson went bankrupt, it'd be Arthur Anderson night. You'd get in free if your first name was Arthur and/or Anderson, and so just that creativity, and it just kind of reminds me of that creativity we're seeing from you and your team over at Modern Woodman Park, and it's just fantastic. Like you said, it's memories. People are going to remember that, and going there with family and just being part of the game and having that being part of the experience.
Well, he was a genius. He was as great as they come, Bill Veeck.
Yeah,
he was special.
Yeah, but I think one point is obviously minor league team. You have the Major League Baseball. What are kind of some of the unique challenges? Obviously, you don't have the funding, you don't have the staffing, the resources of a Major League Baseball team. You're at a much more micro level. What are some of the challenges that kind of creates for you?
So the challenge is really how do you make money selling $5 and $10 tickets when you have so many expenses? And Major League Baseball, I'll tell you guys, they are not shy about forcing us to spend money. So, for example, right, we have 28 players on our team. A coach bus, a luxury coach bus, holds 56 people. We have to take 2 buses on every trip. Right? And Mark is looking at me like, what? I don't understand that math, right? If there's only 28 players and there's 56 seats, every player gets 2 seats. Why do you need 2 buses? And the answer is because Major League Baseball says you have to have 2 buses. And those buses, man, gas prices are expensive. Yeah. Those buses are expensive. And when you have to go all the way to Dayton, Ohio, which is in our league, or Lake County, Ohio, which is 20 miles east of Cleveland, they're in our league, Fort Wayne, like those places are not close. Those are expensive trips.
Yeah.
And so the real challenge is the economics of how do you spend everything that you're required to spend, not charge people an arm and a leg, and still make enough money to support your family and do all of the philanthropic things that we have to do in the Quad Cities. I say have to because that's our mission. You know, you have in minor league baseball 46 teams owned by one group, a private equity group out of New York called Diamond Baseball Holdings, right? And their website, they're owned by a company called Silver Lake, which is the largest private equity company in the world. You know them, Mark. And their website says, our mission, right? Our mission is to provide a superior rate of return to our investors, right? Which is great if you're one of their investors, but that's not my mission, right? We fund free flu shots for every child in the Quad Cities. You don't have to get one. Nothing's mandatory. But if you want a flu shot, we'll pay for it, right? We fund Camp Hope, which is a camp for kids in the Quad Cities who are dealing with cancer in their families, so they can be with other kids who are going through the same thing and have an empathetic ear to lean on. We fund a wonderful program called Family Connects that sends a nurse home for a week with every newborn baby to an impoverished mother. And study after study after study shows those kids are so much more likely to go through graduation than end up in incarceration because of that program, because of that week. My kids, I have 2 boys. I have 2 wonderful boys, and both of them were born in the neonatal intensive care unit, and so we're the largest funder of the NICU at Genesis East, right? So we do these things. We give back to the community because that's in our DNA. That's who we are. And you know, if you have no mission with no money, right? No money, no mission. So being able to navigate those rapids of how do you deal with all the expenses that come with running a team and making sure the players have housing and making sure the players are well fed and making sure they have a great weight room and workout room and travel and so on and still charge as little as possible. You know, we do $2 hot dogs every Tuesday, $2 pops every Tuesday, $2 tickets every Tuesday. Free Ferris wheel and carousel rides on Wednesdays. We give away a pint glass and free and $2 beers every Thursday. We do a big fireworks show every single Friday night, including tonight. Saturdays we do a premium giveaway, and they're good ones. Tomorrow night we're giving away a bucket hat to the first 1,000 people who come into the ballpark. And Sunday we give away a free T-shirt. We also do pregame player autographs, and kids get to run the bases after the game. So we're doing something every night, and that's really the challenge.
Yeah, fabulous. Well, You've promoted a lot coming up, but are there any special events and things that folks in Geneseo should know about or may want to put on their calendar coming up in the QCs?
Man, I just start with our fireworks shows every Friday night are really fabulous. Like, if you have not been to Modern Woodman Park in a while and you haven't seen a fireworks show at the ballpark, it's like 4th of July. I mean, it's really a great show, and it's win or lose. Every Friday home game, we do a great fireworks show. As I say, we're going to do one tonight. And if you have a chance, come to the ballpark, watch a fabulous fireworks show, no additional cost, and that's great. And then look at those Saturday giveaways. We're doing a bucket hat. In 2 weeks, we're doing a Hawaiian shirt giveaway. That's really fun. We have a number of bobbleheads. We have 4 of them coming up this season, including Vinny Pasquantino, who played for us for a year, led us to the championship, and is now the starting first baseman for the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah.
Right? One of the best young prospects in the game. That's awesome. And for people who want to meet the players and get the autographs, come on Sundays, be early before the game starts, and meet these players and get their autographs. We had a kid named Jack Caglione, Royals' first draft pick last year. He went straight to high A, straight to us, played for us for a couple months. He started this year in Double A, big 6'5", 6'6" guy, big home run hitter. Started in Double A. He's already moved up to Triple A. Hit 6 home runs in 7 games in Triple A. Like, that guy's going to be in Kansas City batting cleanup by the 4th of July, I would guess. And if you, Mark, you guys, your firm, you help people navigate a very treacherous stock market, right? If you want a safe investment, come and get a ball signed for free, and watch that ball appreciate in value. Yeah, because it will. You get a Jack Caglione ball in a few years, that thing's going to be worth thousands of dollars.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. I mean, your kind of conversation on that, I kind of want to get a little bit on the technical side. You know, obviously Geneseo, big sports community. What are some of the nuances as far as, you know, you have that minor league structure, but you kind of have that major league oversight.
Right.
How does that impact whether it's off-season signings, whether it's trades or some, free agency, player acquisitions? Just kind of more of a curiosity for our viewers. How does that process work for a minor league team? Because obviously people kind of know the structure of the major league,
sure,
Cubs and Sox. How is that a little bit different given a minor league program?
So the really interesting piece is the draft, right? The major league draft happens right around the All-Star game, which is in July. And the Royals and every other team, we're a Kansas City Royals affiliate, of course. The Royals will pick 20 people, and those guys will start out in the minor leagues. Most of them will start out in low A Columbia and try to work their way up to us. But the really exceptional ones, the first round, second round draft picks, like Caglione last year, they could come, if they're out of college, they could come right to Quad Cities and make an impact on our team immediately.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of neat. We have a wonderful kid, a catcher named Blake Mitchell, who was the Royals' first-round draft pick 2 years ago. He's going to be coming here next month. And he's considered the second-best prospect behind Caglione in the Royals system. Mm-hmm. And for people in Geneseo to come and meet him and get a ball signed and get a picture, like, how cool is that? Because that guy's going to be in the major leagues in 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. You know it.
We should mention, too, that I don't think we did at the top of the show, that we want to thank Dave and the Bandits for we did a ticket giveaway here at the high school, right? I don't know if it was a raffle or how Brooke had set that up exactly, but we had a student winner this morning that was able to come in and meet Dave and get set up to go to the game. So
and he's going to throw out a first pitch.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about memories. I mean, that's, one, free tickets to the game, but then throwing out the first pitch at that game.
Maybe we get the hot air balloon out for this one, Dave.
Do we have a?
What the bigs don't know won't hurt them.
That's right. Oh, they know. Do we have the ability to give away tickets now? Can we do that? Can people call in?
It's not a call-in program.
Do we have a phone?
We do not. We're not quite that sophisticated, Dave. Think of a minor league baseball team, then go down 40 notches.
I got you.
And that's what we are.
All right,
in
We're
radio.
the minor league radio station.
Why don't we
here.
just put Keith's cell phone on the?
I like it. Probably
It's on the city website anyway, Keith.
That's true. Well, hey, I'm game with my. I'm game with my number if you want.
All right.
If somebody wants to call in,
Put out your number. The
Okay.
first person to call, the first 3 people to call Keith will win a pair of tickets.
Means we have to have 3 live listeners.
we have to have 3 and this would only be the live listeners of the program, not
Right.
listening on a video blog
right.
or anything like
Yeah.
that. Okay,
This is
What's
a
the
great
number?
test.
this will be a great test. So 309
309
945
945
2094.
2094.
So be the first 3 callers will receive tickets. We'll take down
pair of tickets
a pair of tickets. We'll take down your
Right.
name and all
to one of the games this weekend.
to one of the games this weekend.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You tell us which one you want to come to.
So there you go. So you can go to the fireworks game tonight,
Right?
Which would be Friday night.
Fireworks tonight.
Tomorrow's promotion, I think.
Bucket hat.
Bucket hat.
Right? Those big fishing hats. Those are really cool. Kids love those.
What could be better than that?
Right? And Sunday, free T-shirt giveaway, pregame player autographs, and kids run the bases after the game.
Oh well, yeah. How could you not
That's
go
a
for?
complete package
How
right
could
there.
you not go for any of those? So, if you are listening live, 309-945-2094, you can give a call in. And Dave, we will see. If we probably have several of our listeners maybe trying to write down a number and this and that. But so there is a number, and so we will see if we get a call in with anybody on that.
And if
also-
they miss the number, Keith, your phone number is on the website.
Yes, and if somebody happens to call a little bit later or what have you, I can track the first
3 people.
and we
Yeah.
can do that. We'll get you in touch and we'll get you all hooked up and stuff. So how does that sound, Brandon? I'll put
Yeah.
some of that on YouTube.
Well, Jen Johnson over at Inspire Continuing Care, she always she was at the River Bandits game earlier this year. So, Jen, if you're listening,
There you go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, call Keith.
So
Yeah, call Keith.
309-945-2094. But to add on that though, speak a bit about modern Woodman Park, kind of from a patron's perspective.
Yeah.
But and you touched on it some, but just the facility itself just has such a unique feel to it. When you're out there and
Yeah.
it's a nice evening, you have the river right there. Maybe occasionally you might see a barge or something going by, but it almost is by its nature a nostalgic step. And speaks to the history of baseball and what have you. But man, if you're out there with the kids or the grandkids, and we've been there much more frequently than Brandon has been over the last several years, but it really is a very cool place. But it also is anymore. You take the kids to the movie or you go out and what have you. You kind of it can be a little eye popping. What you're investing in, kind of some of those kind of more normal or routine things. But from a value standpoint, though, Woodman Park and going out to a River Bandits game and what have you really is a good value. I mean, you can eat for a reasonable amount. The ticket prices are reasonable, and yeah, you are creating a memory, and whether it's the kids are going on the Ferris wheel, or you're you have the fans that are diehard into baseball and are just all stats and following all the players and this and that, and you have the others that are just out there for snicks and giggles and want to have a fun night and stuff. And it really is something pretty special that we have here in the Quad Cities that many times we kind of take it for granted. Some, you probably drive over Centennial Bridge, you see the ballpark, oh yeah, it's really nice and what have you, but experience it if you're not someone that has regularly attended, because it really is a pretty neat thing we have here in the community.
Dave, I mean,
appreciate
you
that.
obviously do a lot of traveling, with the teams. You probably see the other end of the spectrum when it comes to ballparks.
I've seen some pretty rough ones.
Probably
yeah.
the good, the bad, and the ugly
Yes, I
of
have.
minor league parks.
Yes.
And so, being able to play at such a stadium with like Modern Woodman, It just got to.
Look, I love that we were voted the best minor league ballpark in America 3 times in a row by USA Today, right? That's not some, small outfit. USA Today, 3 times in a row, the best minor league ballpark in America. Not in the Midwest, not at this level, but any ballpark. We were the best 3 times in a row. And you ask any Kansas City Chiefs fan, and I'm one, it's tough to three-peat.
Yeah. Do you think that plays in some part to attracting quality players? Is there free agency in the minor league system?
No.
No, okay.
No, there's not. But I will tell you that we had the Kansas City Royals, some of their top people, in our ballpark last week for our last homestand, their farm director, et cetera, and they've told us our field is like a major league quality field, right? I mean, and it is just beautiful. You walk into Modern Woodman Park, and it's like, my gosh, this is the greenest grass I've ever seen. This is the bluest sky I've ever seen. It's just spectacular.
Yeah.
It really is a beautiful place, the best view over the river, right? You're looking out at the river, and the Centennial Bridge is all lit up, and River Action does such a great job lighting the Centennial Bridge at night. And on a Friday night like tonight, when you see the fireworks exploding in front of the lit-up bridge over the river after the game, man, there's nothing better. There's nothing more beautiful.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Well, it looks like Mr. Kennett's on the phone.
He's on the phone. Don't mind me, but there's a little bit of a logistical thing I'm dealing with here.
Oh, okay.
Everything's good, though. And people are texting, actually, so that works, too. If you want to text, actually, that would be easier for me.
All of our phone lines are lighting up. You can't handle the volume of calls in the studio.
it's being forced to text message.
There you go.
Fantastic.
But 309-945 2094. I had to think of my number there. But we have 2, and I think this might be the 3rd.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
So talk amongst yourselves.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, they will have a great time this weekend. I'm so glad to give those tickets away. They'll have a great time. And it really is. It's a special place.
Yeah.
It's a great place to watch a ball game. And the weather has been amazing. And tonight, tomorrow night, and Sunday, it's supposed to be beautiful weather.
Yeah.
It's like I was saying to somebody last night, man, I think people in San Diego are going, I should go to the Quad Cities for the weather this weekend. Like, it's just so perfect here.
Well, again, we can't thank you enough for your time joining us here on our weekly Friday broadcast here. But also your generosity for the gifts, and Landon was the winner, and Landon's going to be throwing out the first pitch, and that kid is going to be on cloud 9. So.
Yeah. Well, we're happy to have him, and look, we'd love to have everybody from Henry County come out and support the team. This is your team, this is your community, and the Quad Cities, and we're happy to be a part of it. We're proud to be a part of it.
Yeah. Dave, I know you don't have the time, but I feel like you need your own podcast. Just saying.
You can tell that definitely it is in your blood, and the passion is there, and the energy you have, you definitely see it on the field.
Definitely the creativity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anybody who's willing to send someone up in a hot air balloon to throw a pitch.
Or shoot out of a cannon.
Shoot out of a cannon.
You get promotions like that, you give Brandon and I a call. So you need someone shot out of a cannon.
Come
We're
do it
there.
at a
So
Geneseo
we've
football
done it.
game.
We've done it both ways. We've not only tried to send people up to throw out a first pitch. We've had people parachute out of a plane and land on the field and throw it and deliver a first pitch that way too. So
Yeah, perfect. Brandon's happy to do that.
Get me to a couple more games first, so
It
we
won't
can
be.
talk about that.
It won't be quite the Les Nessman turkey drop.
I keep coming up with some of these ideas though, and some of them, like I have one that I really would love to pull off, and I just haven't been able to find the right partner to execute. So maybe if there's somebody out there listening, I'll tell you one more idea I have. I would like for Father's Day, right? What if we gave away a vasectomy for Father's Day?
Oh, hey, you heard it here first.
You've had enough kids. You don't want any more. We'd love to help you out.
Now that the world knows Keith's cell phone number.
That's right. So give me a call if you think that's a good
Keith
idea.
Call and a cell phone, and we'll coordinate the free vasectomy with Dave Heller.
Why don't we give one away on the radio right now, Keith? What do you say?
There you go.
If there's a doctor listening who would like to give away a vasectomy and get a lot of press, probably national press for it,
Just call Keith.
yeah,
We'll take care of
you
everything.
call the River Bandits and
Thanks.
we'll make it
Thanks,
happen.
Dave. But we do have 3 winners. We'd like to congratulate Sarah Yerke,
Nice.
Rich Preston, and Jamie Katofsky.
All right, Sarah, Rick, and
Congratulations.
Jamie, we'll see you at the ballpark.
Outstanding.
I'll be at the top of the stairs greeting everybody. Come say hello to me. Introduce yourselves.
So I will, and we'll work. We know where you're at, so we'll work out the logistics of what to do, or just show up with or I guess if you have a tattoo, it's always free night. That's right. If you have that.
Hey, if there's a tattoo artist in Geneseo who wants to do tattoo night, we'll do it again.
There you go.
Right? You come tell us you want to do that, and you'll get some great press for it.
Tattoo artists in Geneseo.
Yeah.
Open call.
Sure, there's some out there.
Give me a call on that too.
That's right. Keith, again, tell them the website where they can find your number.
As your alderman, I'm happy to come and bring that up in council. All right. It's all good. But David, again, it's been really great having you here. You had mentioned, though, are you guys college football fans? I mean, you and your wife, Michigan, Ohio. You didn't live in Toledo or something.
So, I actually, my father and my aunt were Ohio State grads.
Okay.
So I definitely root for the Buckeyes.
Nice. Same here.
Except when they play the Hawkeyes. And my wife, yes, she's from Michigan, so that's a tough weekend at our house.
Yep.
There you go.
Somebody's always happy, somebody's always unhappy.
Well, she's been happy the last 4 seasons.
Yeah, yes.
In
She's
the
been
big
happier.
game.
Yes.
All right.
But we've won a national championship.
Yes, we
so-
did.
Well, again, Dave, we appreciate you making the early trip out here this morning and
Yes,
stuff. And
thank you very
your
much.
generous office of the offer of the ticket giveaway, also with the student as well, and
Free vasectomy.
free vasectomy on
We
Father's Day.
got all kinds of ideas. And hey, listen, if any of the people out there in Henry County, if you have a crazy idea that you think we ought to do at the ballpark, my email, dave@riverbandits.com.
Well, what could be
Really
easier?
simple. Dave@riverbandits.com. You just reach out to me, give me a great idea, and we will see if we can run with it.
That's great.
There you go. Well, again, thank you very much, Dave, for coming in. Mark, as always.
Yeah, great to be back in the saddle again. This is our last, since we kind of followed the summer, the high school schedule. We're off for a couple months here, but yeah, looking forward to picking it up back in the fall. So,
Yeah.
There you go. And you guys are welcome to stay if you'd like. Brandon and I will talk probably a little bit about some city stuff, but hopefully not too much.
90 seconds.
If you are trying to avoid Brandon, come to the ballpark because he's never there. If you want to make sure you stay away from Brandon, come to Modern Woodman Park because you will never see him there.
Maybe.
Well, you've inspired me to change that today, Dave. I think.
There you go. Maybe we'll have like a Brandon night or something. We can have Brandon do wacky things during the game. We'll work
There you
on
go.
that.
Can we shoot you out of a cannon?
Put the
Would you
mascot
do it?
costume on. Ooh, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Would you put the mascot costume on?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Yeah.
think of the
All
posts.
right.
Think of the posts you could put on the city's Facebook
Yeah.
page if they shot you out of a
I'm
cannon.
not going to say no.
Okay. Well, we'll say yes.
All right.
There you
Always
go.
say yes. Then
All right.
back out later.
You got to be nice to the children, though.
We can do that.
Yeah, Brandon would be good with that. Maybe it could be like the battle of the city administrators. They each dress up somehow or do something. Each city representing.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You're already getting your email ready today. Ideas.
My phone is already blowing up on that one.
Right? We could have the Peoria city administrator and have Brandon to kick his ass.
Nice.
That would be nice.
Who can get shot out of the cannon the farthest? Distance contest. Think of the options and the possibilities we have with you out there, Brandon. Representing the pride of Geneseo.
There you go.
There you go. And I'm sure there's a waiver involved somehow in this process, too. Brandon would be happy to sign any legal releases necessary to participate in
Roll
that.
the
You know,
dice.
we could bring out the dunk tank and we could raise money for Inspire,
Yes.
right? By
absolutely.
putting Brandon up there in the dunk tank,
Yep.
let people, pay money to throw the baseballs and send them into the tank.
I drop $100 bill worth of balls to
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm donating to that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's league rules and those sorts of things you have to kind of follow, but you probably couldn't actually put it on the field of play. But let's say you just put them off.
No, we'll put it up on the concourse.
Or maybe even on the other side of the foul line. Maybe somebody rips a foul ball. They happen to hit the target on the dunk tank.
Maybe we'll keep it on the concourse.
That might be better. Okay. That might even be over the line.
Don't quit your day job, Keith.
All right. I'm going back to checking my phone. Perfect.
What a way to end season 2. I tell
Oh,
you what,
awesome ending.
I'm
Outstanding, everybody.
walking in the fire, apparently, in Davenport here coming up.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, but really appreciate you being here, Dave.
It's my pleasure.
Great
Thank you guys for having
conversation.
me.
And appreciate all you do for the community.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mention a couple other things, I think, before we wrap, Keith. We want to make sure we get the word out there. Shoot the Loop, which is a popular event that takes place multiple times in downtown Geneseo, 5 to 7 o'clock tomorrow in downtown Geneseo. This is when folks bring their cars out, classic cars, Jeeps, Corvettes, anything you got. You can be part of Shooting the Loop, driving around downtown, enjoy the beautiful city park. It's a gathering space.
Should be great weather for it.
Yeah. Also, we had last week on the program Tom Wise from Shadow Lake Event Venue on the outskirts of Geneseo. Tomorrow night is Rock the Lake. They're going to have 3 bands, multiple food trucks. Gates open at 3 o'clock out there. So if that's your thing, check that out. You can check out their Facebook page for all information. Search Shadow Lake Event Venue on Facebook. All the information's there. We should probably mention, too, that the Richmond Hill Barn Theater started the performance of Steel Magnolias, I think last night or maybe tonight, but that's running for the next week or 2, I believe. So you can check out their website if you're interested in going to that. You got anything else, Keith?
No, I think that's it.
It'll be about a 50-minute program today.
This could be like our I'm going to say this is one of our best programs ever. And I think we can thank Dave for that.
When we lose track of time, that's usually a very good sign.
Right. And then when we don't have the automated message and the student announcements, you kind of lose track of the time, too, because it's after 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something. All right. Okay. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us on this edition of Let's Talk Geneseo, and also for this season. We very much appreciate all of you that either tune in and listen live or watch us on the stream or do the download later. But hopefully you find this enjoyable and informative. I'm pretty sure neither Brandon and I thought we'd be doing this for 2 years going into year 3, but we get a reminder of it every Friday morning when school's in session. Don't we, Brandon, my friend?
Right. It's been fun.
Yeah,
I think this is episode 62 or 63, and so we'll be, probably breaking that 100 marker at the end of next season.
Little did you know, I said, hey, we could maybe do something like this. Hey, let's give it a try. And here we are.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yes, it has. All right. Well, again, thank you very much for listening. Have a great weekend and a great summer. And this is WGRG 100.5 FM in Geneseo.
Just give me